So today I'll be walking you through step by step how to turn this into this, as well as incorporating some LED lights into the build. Now the first thing I did was remove the mulch and some dirt to try to get things as flat as possible. Next I'm going to start laying down some cement pavers that I got at Menards for about $1.30 each. This is where the frame is going to be resting on. As far as what wood to use, I'd recommend using some ground treated lumber since this will be very close to the dirt, or at the very least some pressure treated boards. And for this step I'll be using some 2x4s to begin building out the frame. Now I'm not entirely sure if using these small 2x2 blocks of wood will help in any way, but I figured it can't hurt to have a little more surface area resting on the slabs of cement. As I'm working my way around, you'll notice that I'm constantly checking to make sure things are level, and since there is a slight slope, I'm also having to remove more dirt along the way to get the back sections level with the front. I'll also be using a speed square throughout the build to make sure my angles are as close as possible to 90 degrees. Here I'll be measuring and cutting my joists. Typically these are going to be either 12 or 16 inches apart on center, but since I have the support post in the middle that I'll be working around, mine are going to be spaced out differently, with the largest gap being 13 inches. Now since I don't want to drill a bunch of pocket holes for the back sections of wood, I just went ahead and made sure everything was square and level, and I marked off where all the pieces needed to be connected. I'll be moving everything over to the side to begin the assembly process. I'll first drill pilot holes, and then I'll be using some 3-inch deck screws to attach things together. And since I have that support post in the middle, I'll be moving everything over and then installing the last piece of the frame. And finally, to finish up the frame, I'll be adding a few extra support points in the middle. For the deck portion, I'm going to be using some pressure treated 1 1/4 by 6 inch boards. Each piece is 8 feet long and costs about $10. For the beam in the middle, I'm going to try my best to get a nice looking fit by cutting a notch out of a deck board using a jigsaw. So I went ahead and screwed in the boards to the middle joist, and this thing is now sturdy as a rock. I'm going to wait about 6 months for the wood to completely dry out before staining and sealing things, and I'll also eventually add some nice trim pieces around the edges to finish it off. Now the next thing to do is figure out how to add some LED lighting. It has to be able to withstand the elements, so after looking online for a while, I thought it would be easiest to try using Govee's neon rope lights, which is IP67 waterproof and a product I've always wanted to try out. I'm first going to cut some 1x2 inch by 8 foot long pieces of wood down to size to go along the back portion of the deck. So a friend of mine named Mark mentioned he'd been playing around with some neon rope lights and that you can easily use a router to make a groove to house the product. I thought this was a great idea and something that might work out perfect here. I'm going to use a 3/8 inch wide bit to make a channel that's a 1/2 inch deep. And once done, it should look something like this. Once the channels are cut, I'm going to use my brad nailer to lightly secure the pieces to the deck. I'll also go over a little later on why I'm treating this method as a temporary idea and what I plan to do 6 months down the road when I stain the wood. So I mentioned I'll be using the Govee neon rope light, so I'll quickly unbox things so you can see the product close up. You can get this in either 6, 10, or 16 feet. Now there's a lot of different products out there like this, but the majority of them make you feed your own LED strip through the silicone tubing using a string, and then you're left up to your own methods of waterproofing things. Govee's version already comes with the LED strip in the tubing, and everything is sealed up tight, so it really is about as simple as it gets. Now all I have to do is insert the LED tubing into the channel that we cut out. It fits perfectly, and what's impressive is that the rope can make a very sharp 90-degree turn without damaging things. And if I end up liking how things look, in 6 months when I stain things, I plan on removing the 1 by 2 inch pieces of wood and cutting the 1/2 inch deep channel directly into the deck boards like you're seeing in this example to give everything a more clean and even look. One thing I did want to mention is that the controller and power is not waterproof, so a quick thing that I did that has yet to fail me is tape everything down on top a small piece of wood like this, then just find some type of plastic container to put over the top and you've got yourself something that will keep everything inside dry during a rainstorm.